Hi everybody, it's Adrian and welcome to Wednesday, back on Wednesdays here on the Facebook page, business page to be to serve for this week's Facebook Live, which is called How to Pick Employees with the Right Attitude. We're going to be focusing on really this whole area of attitude. It's a really important part of the behaviour framework because attitude is what gives you the behaviour, which gives you the results. So we've got to really work on what the attitude is that you want for your business. And I've just spent this morning talking at the Surrey Chamber of Commerce Power Breakfast over at Epsom, and quite an interesting discussion afterwards. We're talking about using your story to engage customers and also engage employees. And what's really important is that, people are going to listen to your story. They're going to get an idea about your company because of the way you tell your story is a way of expressing the attitude you want in your company. So today we're going to talk a little bit about that as well, but discovering really how to pick employees with the right attitude, but more importantly, how to figure out what attitude you want to be picking for your company. If you're going to pick employees with the right attitude, I bet you'd sort of sit there wishing, if you've got that one employee who's really brilliant, you wish everyone else was as good as them or had the same attitude as them, the same approach to work. And the myth is out there is that you cannot change somebody's attitude. Well, physically, yes, we can't change someone else's attitude, but you can create the environment in which somebody else's attitude will change. Really, I think the biggest challenge we have in business is realizing that the environment we have in our business is really determining how it performs. And if we want to select and attract people with the right attitude, then we've got to create the right business environment for that attitude. But what is the right attitude? Realistically, for business owners, there are two challenges. Firstly, it's developing the right attitude within your existing team, but it's also defining the attitude that you want to attract. So if the attitude you want new people joining your company, the attitude you want them to have. You've got to be clear about what attitude is going to work for your business. So what do I mean by that? The attitude that you need in your business is really important when you think about your customer, because the attitude you have in your business is going to be the attitude that's going to actually deliver the experience you want to deliver to your customer. It's the attitude that's going to help you deliver on your business vision, and it's the attitude that's going to help you deliver your business promise to your customers. So attitude is absolutely vital, and if you've got the wrong attitude in the people working in your company or the people you're recruiting, then you have really got a big challenge in your hands because you're going to be pushing water uphill the whole time. But attitude is a choice. Attitude is not something that you have, it's something that you choose to be. So you can choose to be happy or you can choose to be sad. You can choose to be exciting or you can choose to be boring. You can choose to be adventurous or you can choose to be a couch potato. It's up to you as an individual. You choose your attitude, and it's like putting on a suit. But you have to make the choice, and your employees have to make the choice. And if they're going to make a choice about their attitude, they've got to have a reason for making that choice. They've got to understand why it's necessary to choose to come with a particular attitude. Disney have a fantastic thing, or they used to have a fantastic thing in their contract, where having a bad day was not an option, was part of the contract that people signed up to. So coming to work with the attitude of, oh, it's a bad day, was just not an option. So people didn't do it. And actually, as a manager, you can say to people, hey, remember, hey, look, you're having a bit of a bad day, remember that's not an option. So choose to be happy, choose to be excited. Because people coming to the Disney experience wanted the Disney experience. They didn't want somebody else's problems. And your customers are exactly the same, and your staff are exactly the same. Now, I'm not saying that if somebody is having a bad time, you don't take care of it. Of course you do. Absolutely, we need to do that. So you need to have the ability, if somebody is down or is feeling blue about something, that you can sit down and talk with them and help them get past it and help them choose to be up again. But it's absolutely a choice. The attitude that you want in your business has to be supported by the environment that your business exists in. And remember, if you're the owner of the business or the senior manager or the leader of the business, you are 80% of that business environment. You are creating the environment around you. Your attitude is going to determine the environment. Your attitude is going to determine the attitude of the people around you. And when we look at attitude, we think, attitude gives us a certain sort of behavior which will give us the result we want in our business. When we go to define the attitude we want in our business, though, we have to reverse engineer it from the outcome we want to have in the business. So if you have a particular vision for your business, the outcome you want to deliver to your customer, or the promise you want to deliver to your customer, you have to ask yourself the question, well, what behavior is going to do that? And if you know that, then we can work out the attitude. It's got to be the environment that supports the attitude that you are trying to have in your company, and importantly, suppresses the attitudes that you don't want to have in your company. You know, it's really important that we realize environment is a double-edged sword. Environment helps us build up things we really want, but it's there also to suppress the things that we don't want. And that's two roles of the environment are very important. So what are the questions that you need to answer with regards to attitude to be able to help you define your attitude and pick the attitude you need for your company? Well, first of all, remember, we're doing this in reverse order. So let's figure out what the outcome is. So what is the desired outcome in a particular area in your business overall? It doesn't matter. It works on the micro or the macro level. But you need to ask yourself, what is the outcome that I desire in this particular part of my business? And then when you've got that, is then ask yourself the question, how would people have to behave to deliver that outcome? So if they've got to be courteous, if they've got to be proactive, if they've got to be creative or innovative, that's how you want them to behave, then what sort of attitude do you need that person to have to be able to do that? And then you need to ask yourself that final question, what environment do I need that's going to support that attitude? When we talk about attitude, sometimes people get a bit confused by what it means. And really, attitude is looking at the way people think. It's their outlook on life, their viewpoint, their standpoint, what they stand for is their attitude as well. How they think, their perspective, their belief systems influence their attitude dramatically, and also their point of view on things. What you need to do in your business is take a moment to fully describe the attitude that you want in your company and to get the results you want. And it's the attitude you want for specific roles, specific people within your organization. How do you want people in customer service to behave? How do you want people in sales to behave? How do you want people in operations to behave? How do you want people in HR to behave? How do you want people in the different areas of your business? How do you want them to behave? Because if you can work that out, you can work it back to, well, if they're going to behave like this is the behavior I need, then they need to come in every day with this sort of attitude. And once you've got that, then take a look at the support that desired attitude is going to need in the business. What are you going to have to provide in the business to support people having that attitude? Go back to the Disney example, for example. So Disney, they have the guidelines and the rules of how people work really support people delivering that attitude of having a bad day is not an option. Because the way they set up their guidelines is to encourage people, the environment encourages people to be positive, to be cheerful, to be in service of the guest the whole time. So that's how the environment, part of the guidelines is part of the environment, helps people to stay on tune, stay in character, stay delivering the right attitude to those customers and the right behaviour. And then there's this other question I'd ask you to ask yourself, and that is, what do you do currently that impedes that attitude? Because if you can identify areas where your behaviour, your attitude is stopping others deliver the attitude that you want or deliver the behaviour you want, then you need to stop doing that pretty quickly. So take a moment to fully describe the attitude you want in your company for the specific roles within the company, and then have a really good look at what's going to support that attitude and also what you're doing currently that might be impeding that attitude. Next week, we're going to be looking at dynamic, the dynamic of behaviour. And remember, dynamic is the second part of relationships, so relationships there's purpose and dynamic. So next week we're going to be looking at the dynamic part of behaviour and seeing how that can really influence the performance of your company and what you need to do to get the right dynamic happening in your company. Look forward to seeing you next week. Bye for now.